different topics that are in discussion and community around the world. One of them is the notion of care, and I will re-say something why it's so important. And the other one is normally called the decolonization of design. So the notion of care I have already introduced yesterday, but maybe somebody was not here. I want only to recall, this is the notion of care is very diffuse. So practically in every language that I know exists the idea of care, because it's a very basic interaction in between human beings. But of course, the way in which we can develop the idea of care can be quite different. And here we have to see how different it can be. The second issue is why we have to discuss care today, because as I said yesterday, something happened in our society, in the so-called modern or modernized society, that we tend to become careless society. So society in which many things happens, but that very special relationships that we can call care is progressively disappearing. And the same we can say for the environment. At the end of the day, if we have to find one word why we human beings have been creating this kind of disaster in the planet, is because we do not have care. So the issue about care is not only important in the human-to-human interaction, but it's also very important in the human and the non-human entities that are around us. And luckily, as we have seen in the conference, and I congratulate with all the presenters, because this is a conference in which a very deep notion of, it's not only a shallow idea of being a little bit green, it's a deep notion of being ecological. And to be ecological, you have to establish relationships of care. So these are the two motivations why in this moment, this term that always existed is so important, both for social reason and for environmental reason. At the same time, even if this relatively clear, when you say that, why it is so important, we have a problem. And the problem, we have several problems, but one of the problems that is related to this issue, as I said yesterday, and maybe we will have the time to come back afterwards, is that care is based on a temporality that yesterday I say cannot be compressed. So there are some activities that through the machine, through the technology, can be done in less time. We can move from A to B. Once it takes months, after weeks, and after maybe in few hours. And now the telecommunication many in real time. So if the issue is I have to send a very precise message, we can compress the time. So a lot of what is done in terms of technological development has been devoted to compress the time, to have the possibility to do something in less time. And this is said to be more efficient. I will not say that efficiency is not, we need also efficiency in some way, but we need also care. And caring means attention, means to be face to face to another one. And you cannot reduce care, because if you are in face to another person that is in need, the time that is needed is the time that is needed. You cannot make it as a machine. You cannot make it in a few seconds because you have fantastic machines that solve the solution, solve the problem. So this is why caring is very important. In some way, we have also to take care of efficiency. And we find that this area become a very crucial area for designer. And yesterday, I evocate some discussion that we have had, and now we will introduce Virginia Tassinari, that's a colleague of us that will speak from Belgium now, the issue of how we can put together these two worlds, the world of efficiency as the modern society asks us to be, and the world of care that is so necessary in our human-to-human and human-to-nature interactions. And the overlapping of the two is what yesterday I quoted a good friend of us, that is Arturo Escobar, they call it the pluriversal contact zone. So the area in which two different worlds are living together. And I think that this is really the challenge in this moment, to be capable to manage the possibility to be at the same time in two different worlds, at least. In relation to this, we can come, I say this is one line of discussion, but in this line of discussion, there are several big terms that are very context related. So the care as a basic relationship between human beings probably is the same in every culture as a very basic action, but the cultural motivation, the cultural meaning of care probably is different, as many other very deep problems. So what we nowadays have been already introduced, this is a seminar, a workshop organized by DESIS, have tried to take the issue of decolonization, decolonizing design in our way. So maybe this is not so normal for you, but there is a kind of international conversation in academic level of what does it mean decolonizing design. And of course, design started in Europe. This is historical. So it's obvious that the notion of design, the cultural design, has something to do with the origin that are European. So the first moment in which design spread in the world, it was obviously related to some way of thinking and doing. They were from Europe. Now, even if I am European, I say luckily and finally, a lot of other area in the planet start to say, hey, one moment, but we are not European. We have different rules, we have different structure. And so they start to say, what does it mean to transform some ideas, some concepts, if we are South American, if we are Africans, if we are Asian, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc. So this is a group of DESIS labs that want to make some research and generate some knowledge, but mainly based on experiences. So our way to enter in this discussion is not so much the pure philosophical one, but is to try to see how some experiences that have been done can translate some big discussion in others. And this is what we do with something we call philosophical talk. So time by time, we have some meeting and on some topics that seems to be very deep. And we try to put together the practical experiences with some reflection. The last one that we did has been in July in Brazil, and this is in the moment in which we also interact with our friend, in particularly Arturo Escobar. If you know it, you know who is it. If you don't know it, please take note, because he's a very relevant person. And we have this discussion, and now I will leave the digital floor to Virginia. They will start from here and try to, in 3 minutes and 4 minutes, to say something about our way of considering this decolonization of the notion of care as recognizing the multiple facets.
Whoops, whoops,
Okay,
whoops,
here.
whoops, whoops, whoops.
Because the natural law.
No. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
This conference.
I don't know why.
Laws.
What happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's relevant.
No, sorry. Wait, peraí.
Also to a broader.
I don't know where she is. Sorry.
Beyond.
Ah, okay. Okay. As you can continue just to finish. You want to finish?
Because we cannot see Virginia?
No, we can see, but it was something that started by
Yeah, but
itself.
no, of course, I try to be very short, and I can say when we had this meeting, this is the first meeting that we did on the notion of care seen by different point of view. What emerged, it was inside That conference was, I don't know if you know, it's an international conference for service design.
Yeah.
And so we started from that point. So are you ready?
Yeah,
Virginia?
okay. So let's go here.
So Virginia is the one that in DESIS is the one in charge of this, what we call
This
philosophy talk. So this kind of meeting to have discussion. This is not properly philosophy talk, it's a kind of talking with you about this.
Okay.
And we, as you will see, have invited, as also Teresa said,
I need to share.
colleagues from different cultural background to try to develop a little bit this idea of what could be care for designers.
Okay.
This is Virginia Tassinari. In Belgium, we have cut a little bit because it was a little bit long. So she was explaining what I just said, that we have this discussion. And now she's in the moment in which she say why the issue about care is so important today.
Yeah. Okay, and we have everyone. Okay, so let's hear.
And I think, if I well understood, the word care is even important to them. Because the narrative of love, the idea of love, that it's a trans in this conference, and really knowledge I think it's relevant to all the observation that we made in this design, also to a broader types, in the sense also beyond services. For instance, these are educators, as we are encountering mostly in Cumulus. So if we want to explore more caring ways to design, we need to dare explore the diverse universal products, the diverse zones of intersection between the design and design languages, and ways of practicing care in diverse contexts, such as, for instance, with rights with report of rights to social innovation around the world, with ways of practicing care in diverse contexts. So to explore the universal understandings of care in the diverse places around the world, and I think today it's a wonderful opportunity to do this even in the international context of the Cumulus conference. But most of all, there are pluriversal practices of care, as we could say, in the fundament to make our design practices more and contribute to a care rather than but to do so, I think that we need also to colonize our modern understanding of care and love. Let's see this as something, giving it once and for all, that we can frame, that we can define in very rational, good terms. And how do we need to envision this understanding of care and love as a polyphonic concept? As a concept made of many worldviews, of many different ways of understanding and sensing things. A concept which we could call a singular plural concept. And by decolonizing our understanding of care and love, we can also explore practices that explore care and love in different ways. We can better frame them, we can better understand them. And I think this really framing in a better way, in a less modern way, in a more pluriversal way, our understanding of care. So the operation that we're trying to do today is really important, because if we want to reframe our practices and pedagogies in designing in less colonial and more caring way, we really need first to understand all these different, the careful or the caring of the loving value of grassroots practices and how they can in different places intersect with our practices and pedagogies. So I'm very curious to hear what will come out of the conversation today. I wish it would work, and see you soon. Bye, take care. The word care.
Yeah, okay. Can we take Virginia out? Okay. So now, now we will go to Miaozen. Coisa é isso, é o que veio do coisa. Não, 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 não.
Ok.
Miaozen veio do
Airdrop.
airdrop. Which one was yours? The name?
This one.
Okay. So não, não, não. Espera, deixa-me fechar, desculpa, não. Ai, com não, completo. June, are you seeing our screen? Are you okay? Yeah, whatever you want.
No, I don't see your screen.
You are you don't see, yeah, of course you don't see. Yeah, yeah, I need to share properly. Wait. Okay. Yeah, to share the screen. And now let's go here. And
Okay, good afternoon,
Okay.
everybody. I'm Yao Sengong from Jiangnan University, and also the part of the DESIS network. And today our topic is design culture of care. And I'm going to present the case we have done in the last year. And to a bit reflect the cultural perspective of our case from the traditional point of view. So the case we will talk about is the Ke. So far, it's a social enterprise, four-star in Wuxi. It's a pretty successful one. It was incubated. Yeah. So it's a social enterprise, particularly focused on the intellectual disabled people who have a mental problem or who try to improve their wellness, the life quality, and the social inclusive. It started 10 years ago as a kind of design proposal of DESIS workshop and symposium led by Professor Manzini. And step by step, we began to really do it, to make it happen, and then slowly we became independent social enterprise for that. In the beginning, the basic idea of this project is try to enable people who are the vulnerable people to be as a kind of assets instead of the problem of the society. And actually, in our traditional saying, we have to say, teach a man to fish, rather than to give a man a fish. So this is I think, a very common principle that today when we talk about social innovation and in our traditional wisdom. And anyway, in the last years, we have done many projects around this IDP group, and also they are very effective. One of the projects I'm going to talk is about the handmade soup. I forgot to. So this is a handmade soup. Soup, yes. So, and I think more or less you know, and maybe you'll see in some shops, and some friends maybe also use such a kind of the handmade soup. And this is relatively high quality. And what we have done is try to recognize well the characteristic of this IDP, the people with the intellectual disabilities. And then we reorganize the process to produce this handmade soup, and make the group of the IDP can work together as a co-production to produce, as you see the picture. So in general, the production of the handmade soap could be complex, but not so much. So we divide this process even more as a more simple step. So let the different degree of the IDP can involve the different steps according to their capacities. Of course, we need also training before to do so. And finally, actually, they make it when they really do make the involve the production process. You can see they are so concentrated. They are in the state of the, I think, it's a very good well-being situation, and they are quite. It's also a kind of the process of the design or artist healing. And of course, we by this media, by this program, we need to sell and we do some promotion and exhibition, involve the sound marketing to facilitate the social inclusion of these people. Anyway, continually, we are not only working between the IDPs, but also between the IDPs and the community inhabitant, including the elderly and the kids, to try to have more interaction between them with some toolkits. And we organize some joining studio with the IDPs and kids in the community. Then they have some creation in the artworks. Then we propose a kind of the scenario that we can link the students designer under the IDP's artworks to try to have another level of the co-creation to be a kind of the visual element that can be utilized in the different contexts as a business. So this is some application of this virtual element. Of course, we also try to refresh the kind of the volunteer or the consumption of our products to try to make them have more emotional engagement with the IDPs. Otherwise, the people like it, but like it as a product. Instead, we would like to make the users feel what they from the beginning of from the IDPs, only from the products. So we have some design project, but of course we have no time to talk more. Anyway, we try to do something. First of all, is empower those people with intellectual disabilities who are most difficult to empower, actually. Second is try to connect the different actors to make them have different kind of relationship to change the how can I say the connection, change the state of art of their well-being under the capacity of the value creation. Okay, yeah. So in any case, I think such a kind of the project maybe many social innovation cases. We realize that it's designed for the change of the relational quality. When you change relational quality, you will change the well-being, the idea of that. So actually, in our traditional culture in China, the Confucianism particularly refers to the human relation, about the ethic aspect. And as you know, the core idea of the Confucianism is 人，人是我们儒家的这个思想的核心啊。in our classics， 论语啊，颜渊第二当中有一个说，这个樊迟问仁是吧？子曰爱人。就我们的这个经典的讲仁就是仁者爱人。仁 means love， particularly love man, and also it can be extended to love every living things. Yeah. And in another classics, 孟子 said, 君子以人存心，以礼存心。仁者爱人，有礼者敬人。It means with ren in heart to love man, and with li in heart to respect man. The ren more refers to the internal.
Yeah, you have like.
Okay, internal faith, and the li refers to the role of the conduct. So in our traditional culture, we have very complicated and complete ren and li to, how can I say, to set up the mindset and set up the behavior. Okay. And actually, when we talk about the ren, talk about love, person, man, in Chinese culture, the beginning of the love is love your parents. This is a very, very important. When we, in China, we talk about love. We talk about care, and we talk about ren, okay? And finally, the in Li Ji, another classics, it indicates 大道之行，天下为公. The whole world is public common as one community. When we say the beginning of the care of the love is love your parents, care your parents, but we are not limited in that point. The destination is to care the whole world as public common, as one community. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Are there any questions? We have 2 minutes to. Any questions? So if not,
I can make
okay, so yeah, but you can't answer, so we will answer at the end.
I wanted to say that in Italy, but I think everywhere, dealing with it's referred to the example. Dealing with the people with some mental disease, there is something that is called the work therapy. That means for people that have mental disease, it's good to do some work. Yeah. But in my view, this is not what we are talking about. This is not your example. So it's not the issue of asking them to work, so they have something to do. But what we have seen is something that is done, using our term, taking care. So everything is really well done. There is satisfaction. So what you are offering an opportunity for these people not to be people that have to spend their time and so on. Not as a labor. Not as a labor. It's not a labor in the same as a therapy. It's to do something that they like, that is recognized as valuable, that is done very well, that gives satisfaction. So treating them as human beings. So labor as something that, given that is done by good care, generates in a way happiness for who do it, and not simply kind of therapy because they are sick.
Thank you. So now, okay. Yeah.
So my question is kind of linguistic. So you talk about this word "ren,"
Yes.
and if I don't know if there is such thing, but if this word is part of any compound words or other words, if you can have any related words, then you can render. If there is such thing that generate words from this.
Okay. So now, another one. Okay.
Question is, how much time did they spend there? What was the time for producing and taking care of it? Because I know that making soap is not something that you've done.
That's really
it takes time.
Yes.
And I think time is related to care. So I like to understand it more.
We have another one.
This one regarding birth and definition. occupational therapy. You know, the time that you are occupied and you can spend time in this care.
I was wondering, just one thing. In Spain, it's interesting to see the contrast. What we are working with the intellectual disability is boosting their creativity also. Because the thing of making them work is more what their fathers want, because they are more normal, in the commas, of course. But we believe this is not the best thing for them. But talking about alternative, we believe they have their own capabilities to do other things, such as being creative and so on. So we be for the creative art, for them, boosting their own capabilities.
Thank you. We have to move forward because this is the first case and already has raised these questions. So June, whenever you are ready.
Yes,
You can
so I'm gonna share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
All right, so hi everyone. I can see that this small room is filled with enthusiasm. Nice to meet you. I'm the director of DESIS lab at Ezio University. Thank you for the invitation. Today I'll introduce another case study from South Korea. It's a kind of social technical approach to caring homeless tuberculosis patients. To be honest, I don't know how my case study can be positioned in this conversation of care. I hope that we have time to discuss that afterwards. Korea, after the Korean War, became one of the countries with the most number of TB patients. So TB incidence ranked first, and TB mortality is ranked second among OECD members in 2019, and this ranking is more or less the same now. And this TB incidence rate is particularly high. It's much higher than that among ordinary people, among people who are vulnerable, including homeless people. But the thing is, they don't have people that care for their treatment and maintenance of this disease. So it's difficult for them to be completely treated, to complete the treatment. And often that leads to multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. And also we have a shortage of medical staff and people who can provide this care for homeless people with TB. So that's the reality. I had a chance to work with homeless people with TB since 2018, and the characteristics of this cohort is quite complicated. So tuberculosis is only the symptom of the problems that they have. They have traumatic experience from, many of them have traumatic experiences from the early part of their life. They lack resilience, and many of them suffer from depression and lethargy. And because of that, they often lack self-control, which kind of makes them more vulnerable to drinking and smoking. And all these different factors are intertwined and interacting, and keep them in this vicious cycle of homeless tuberculosis. So in our project, we developed two different approaches. One is more social intervention to provide peer support among TB patients in a hospital. We also developed a more technical solution, which is a chatbot service. So we worked with a hospital, municipal hospital in Seoul, and for about 4 months, we provided different activities that can somehow help them escape from this acquired lethargy and depression and gain hope to stand on their own feet. So we wanted to provide them with like different experiences, joyful experiences during the hospitalization. So they have this mentoring session with people who overcame homeless TB. They also had time to learn how to use smartphone, which is connected to our technical intervention. They also had time to learn how to paint. There was also cooking classes. There was a mini opera. So all these different activities were held every day for 4 months. And during we encouraged them to learn and use social network service, posting their daily activities, and also helping them to learn how to use this app in daily context. So after the intervention, we measured the effectiveness of our intervention by measuring the perceived mutual support. We confirmed that the quality and also quantity of mutual support among the participants have increased during the period. We also confirmed that they had a high level of satisfaction about learning how to use smartphones and social network service. During the conversation with medical staff, we realized that there was a very significant problem of lack of people supporting medical treatment of TB patients, especially people providing the right necessary information and also providing social care for people who are very vulnerable to disease, but also they have this social kind of a demand for social support. So we hope that this technology can somehow fill the gap that exists. So we developed a conversational agent that works on KakaoTalk. KakaoTalk is in China, I think, similar to WeChat. So everybody uses KakaoTalk in South Korea. And if these homeless people want to rehabilitate and want to get back to society, it is important that they learn how to use this app in order to communicate with people. So we had this conversational agent embedded in this KakaoTalk platform, and you can easily join. You can easily make friends with this agent. You get information about where to get treatment, where to get administrative support, where to find support facilities. You can also learn. You can also get medication reminder from this agent, and if your medication adherence is successful, then you will get reward.
You have to conclude, June.
Yeah. So based on this project, we learned that we came up with some design considerations when you are designing this relational agent for vulnerable people. Two things. So homeless group, they really emphasized effective support from the agent. Even if it's a machine, they found that this relationship with this agent provide valuable support because they are so socially isolated and stigmatized. And we also discovered that consideration of the past memories in selecting social cues can facilitate the exchange of affective expressions in this user agent interaction. We also observed that there are several factors that affect their attitude and behavior intention to use this conversational agent, and they are whether this agent is useful and also if this agent is easy to use. But also we found some opportunities for caring interventions in this process. So social influence is important. So empowering TB patients to provide effective and social support to one another, and also facilitating condition, which is, for example, providing them with conditions that facilitate the adoption of our solution, such as nurturing digital literacy and providing infrastructure and services that can enhance homeless people's access to technologies can affect their behavior intention. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Okay, we have here one question.
That's not a question, it's just something that when we start talking, I remember that there is an anthropologist, Margaret Meadow, that when she was asked how culture started, she said that it was the first time that 15,000 years ago, they discovered a femur, a bone that was broken and that was healed. And by taking care of, someone at that time took care of someone, because otherwise she or he would be eaten. And I think that this work has something to do with it. It's taking care, but it's healing. That's a healing care. It's a healing part. It's just it's not a question. It's just something that reminds me.
Thank you, Carla. Anyone? Okay. I'm going.
Afterwards to June, if you can say what we have shown as something that you feel that is more clearly related to some Korean attitude. So if there is something that you feel that could be in some way special, have it been in Korea and not have it been in China or in Iran?
You have to answer after. And George?
I would like to ask, how long did it take to, when you start this plan till now it's work in the in a long way? I want to know how long did it take?
Okay. Did you hear? June? To
honestly, the sound quality is not so
no,
great.
not now. Not now. Not now. You have to answer only. Yeah, take notes and answer in the end.
Yeah.
So now we are going from South Africa to Spain. Cecilia, it's your time. So let me.
Não era. Oh,
Não, isto é só da Raul.
ai meu Deus, confusão. Mandou por. Como é que ela
Maybe I see it, I don't know.
So I have to share before I put this.
Não, por acaso foi.
Compartilhada e agora visualizar. Eu não consigo.
You got it?
Okay.
It's here in the
Yeah.
the arrows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Time for care. Okay, what I've done is, of course, in the end, I will tell some examples of social innovation related with care, but I focus in the situation we got now about care in Spain. So first of all, I want to introduce you this lady who's Rosa Maria Calá, who's a Spanish journalist correspondent that has worked all around the world and particularly in underdeveloped countries. I read quite long ago an article in El País, which is a Spanish national newspaper, in which she stated that after all she saw in all her travels, women were the ones waving the fabric that sustained the whole world. So it was something common for her in the whole world. Everywhere, in China, in India, in South America, everywhere. So, and more specifically, being anonymous, absolutely anonymous. And this is something common also all around the world. So, okay, here we have, I don't know if you know, but we have the Civil War, but before Civil War, we have the Second Republic. Women have a very good situation. This is Clara Campoamor, who was the lady who bring the boat for women. But women would smoke, women would vote, and women even divorce. The thing that with afterwards was impossible. So next, okay. Then
Internet.
So afterward, during Franco's dictatorship, the regime protected and emphasized the family, the traditional family, and religious values. The state was with the Catholic Church altogether, and they share a common goal, which was to control the family and social structure. So the way to control people was enhancing the family in this way. She's next. About, I don't know how you say it in English, the large family. It's the family in which there are at least 4 sons, but the more the better. No? This is extended family. Okay. And again, this lady has more, even because the one before is the family of Franco. And then the next one is any family in Spain. There are a lot of people there to take care of. Then, to this end, a series of measures were implemented, such divorce was abolished, contraceptives were criminalized, women's work ended, and large extended families were encouraged. So afterwards, next one. Oh, no, next one. Afterwards, when he died, we passed to a democratic society, and there, women, they didn't get a much better situation, but because they come to this something like a woman, orchestra woman, a woman that please, cooks and do all the households, a woman who works, and a woman who has to be pretty at doing all these things at the same time. But the patriarchate continued, and women did not stop being the most important carers. Now, the situation is still pending. After almost 50 years after, the situation is still pending. Today in Spain, if you say you're having your elderlies in a nursery home, it's almost as you have abandoned them. You need to look for an excuse. If not, it's not okay. We have also machismo. I don't know if you know what machismo is. Machismo is, I've looked at the translation, is like male chauvinism. And we have domestic violence too. 60 women in average die a year for domestic violence. Sorry?
Even today.
Even today, yeah.
Today, some years we have 56, some years we have 40, but in average, 60 women a year. Yeah. And moreover, after Me Too, if you want to be cool, you have to say your husband is doing the 50% of the household work at home, when it's not true. It could be true. There are some people who's very lucky, but not everyone. So in this context, please. This is the husband.
So I'm already on this one.
So in our context, new ways of relationships through design. Design to be more caring, relational, and regenerative. Again, we have women, and it has evolved towards, after, moreover, no, before there were quite a lot of things. I'm not going to talk about the things we do in our school because they are all about care, and you can see our web page, etc.
And you have less than 2 minutes.
Okay, then. Okay, what they do is women give the household skills out of the family, and this is, for example, la olla social, which is the social saucepan. And Friday they cook, and Saturday morning the people of the quarter that has not enough to eat go for the food with the box for the food of the week. And another one. The other thing women also do is the things that she has. Time. I'm finishing.
No, you can continue.
Okay, the things that she has learned to do at home, she is taking them outside, and then, for example, she sews, and then sells the things she sews. I'm talking about the people who has not access to education and so on. Okay, then nowadays we have men also carers, but in a more spectacular way. For example, this is a super project made for men from the city where I live, called Zaragoza, which se llama Frena la Curva, Slow Down the Curve. And it was a geolocalizador during COVID, all around the world, people put a red point where they needed help, and a green dot if they were willing to give help. So during pandemic, if you were in a village and you see in the village beside there was a person that needed you to take the shopping for the house, you could put the shopping and go there driving and put it in the door. So it was a way to help each other during pandemic. But later on, it won lots of prizes. And then, of course, we have another quite a lot of examples. This is Believe in Art, which is a group of local artists that are painting the rooms in the children's hospital to have more humanized spaces. Or we have others like there's a nursery home for children, and a nursery for children and a nursery for home for elderly, which are one beside the other, and 2 hours a day they join together. This is something that has come natural, more or less, etc. We have, and this is the last one I say, just to end with Victoria Camps. We have one which is very beautiful. I think it's European, which is called Musetica, in which youngsters, students of music of conservatory, go to the places and they do a rehearsal and give the music for free, but rehearse, so it's useful for both. They share classical music, and at the same time they are doing a rehearsal. So they prepare for the big concert and the auditorio, And then, I'm finishing. To end, I would say we have a Catalan philosopher called Victoria Camps, who wrote this book during the pandemic called Time for Care. in which she underlines the importance of care, of course, but says something that we might think, and it's evident to be said, but it is important to say. It's very important to care the carers, because caring is one of the most exhausting words that exist, and many times it's not paid. So what she proposes is that the state is who, through proper public policies, should care the carers, and not only with maternity leaves, but, for example, with a salad. And that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. So, thank you, Cecilia. Questions? Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Very about opening. So like I don't necessarily reject them, but I found that your initiated and in regards to the technology that it's really talked about technology and people care now in basic science because in time of COVID when the time is very short, this technological and crowdsourcing helps happen immediately. So I just wanted to bring in the immediate help and quick reaction as a part of the community help and around that very important aspect.
Okay.
It was impressive that you showed a picture of the extended family before. Actually, my parents' generation, usually they have the brother, sister, more than 4. But in my generation, the next one, it could be really 1 or maximum 2. And even today in China, the young people do not like to grow more. But in the traditional extended family, the care duties are basically done in the family itself. And today we are more dependent on the social services. But as I experience it, and I know that particularly for the care for the elderly or nursing care, they are really difficult to make it an external social services. It could be better done by the family. Yeah, but of course, this is the average expected for, I think, overall in China. So I'm not asking a general question. I'm asking only you. When you look at you do this research, how do you to work updated? You would like to learn this.
Okay, let's keep. Yeah.
It's a discussion that when we talk about care, we talk about care in 2 ways. Care relationships that can be with the beloved and care as work of care. Yes. And of course, the 2 things are interrelated. And the work of care has been mainly done 90% or more done by women, always. So there is the friction because obviously to free the woman, in some way you have to reduce this kind of work of care. So one of the contradictions is that we all recognize the importance of care, and at the same time, we all, especially women, recognize that the work of care has to be changed. And okay, this is there is something that is logical.
Thank you. I see that you are going to do a question for all.
So it's not a question, but it's asking about this feminine care. It comes within our body because we care. We hold our child for 9 months. So we do have this in our body.
Okay, so Halitza, are you there and ready to present your? I think you are muted.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, perfect.
Sharing my screen now, and yeah. So Hello, everyone. I bring you greetings from Ghana. Yes, a wave. Yes. Good to see you all from the West Africa. Yeah. So I'm super excited to be here and to also share some of our case studies from here on care. And it's such a privilege to still be able to join online, even though I'm not there with you in China. It's so beautiful. So I am Ralitza, and I'm the operations manager for DESIS Network in Ghana and at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So today, on the concept of care, I would like to touch on one interesting topic and concept within our culture, which is called Nobwa. So Nobwa is a sustainable farming system. And in this system, people work together to support each other to be able to have a very good harvest. So members within the community come from different aspects in the community. So this particular case is situated within the Ashanti region in the area called Akumedan. And the case is focused on tomato farming, where we have different farmers coming together to support each other as a way of caring for themselves and also to improve their livelihood. So let's quickly look at what the concept of Noble actually means. So this term fosters togetherness, teamwork, collaboration, and also support. And the idea of working this way has been practiced centuries by our ancestors as a way of community farming and also to provide mutual assistance, and most importantly, to also care for one another. And as a result, it helps in yielding successful harvests. So with the Nobwa concept, it's also used in the tomato farming. So in Akumedan, there is a lot of farming farmlands. They're focused on tomato farming. So that region is one of the bread baskets for tomato farming. But once they work together, there are these different farmers. They don't need to always buy their own tools and all of that because they are always sharing. But beyond the farming season, if another person has another crop that they are farming, they will now move from the other one and then join the other person to also help that person to also farm. So let's say if it's no longer tomatoes and it's now, let's say pineapples, they will all support the other person to actually also plant that. And in the end, they always share the profits that come from this. So you realize that in these spaces, it is not only about working, but it also provides opportunity to care for one another. It gives the space of building relationships. It also gives chance for people to feel love, and at the same time, it's also very therapeutic. So when we talk about the narratives of love, you find this within the farming space in the concept of the Nobwa farming system. But one of the things that we observed was that within the Akumedan region, whenever there is a bumper harvest, we also experience a lot of post-harvest losses. So on this note, some of our students had to work with the farmers in that region to help them with their work. And one of the greatest problems with post-harvest loss is that we have almost about 40% of food loss within sub-Saharan Africa. And within the Akumedan region in Ghana, you have almost about 2 million annual losses of fresh tomatoes. So the idea for this project within this space was, I would say the intervention was what we called AkuFresh, to help actually reduce the post-harvest losses. And these were done by our students with the farmers. So after going through the creative process, and eventually they came up with some intervention. So one of these intervention or idea, prototyping the idea, was to come up with a cold chain solution with a sustainable crop preservation service. But this storage facility is known as cold store, because that's how the locals call it. It's comfortable for them to understand it as a cold store, a storage system to be able to preserve this farm produce for a very long time, so that the whole year round there will be enough of these tomatoes, and it also increases their profits and all of that. Another point was to provide more access to market. So through AcoFresh, the students came up with the intervention to have a digital platform to support these local farmers so that they can have more economic stability through the sales of their produce, also improves food security within the region, and also reduce food waste. So with the idea of Noboa as a culture of care, as I mentioned, it's not only about the business, but also building all these relationships that has all these economic benefits. So let's have a quick look at how one of the prototype of the storage facility looks like. And this is actually a solar panel system storage facility built in the community with the community stakeholders and predominantly the farmers. And the idea is to give them that space to store their farm produce. And this is mainly powered by solar. It's so that it becomes more sustainable, and we can actually harvest a lot of sunshine because we are also in the tropics. So we don't need to use electricity to make this happen. So this is the prototype idea of what the intervention the students came up with together with the community members. And so on the next slide, we'll see how the actual implementation of the sample prototype within the farming area. And so you see that this is how the cold store looks like. And you can see the tomato farmers trying to store their farm produce in this space. And the idea is to scale this out, where the farmers themselves will also get the chance to actually build these storage facilities within their farming areas to be able to store them so that we can always have this the whole year round. So I'll say that the idea about Noboa as farming as a culture of care is not only about the term, but it also embodies that vibrant spirit of togetherness, supporting each other, caring for one another, and sharing the success. So we are saying that as we move forward, it is good for us to reflect on that touch of Noboa, to foster that culture of mutual support, unity, so that we can have thriving communities for sustainable futures as we care for each other, because that is actually the essence of our humanity. And also, you also realize that Noboa is also at the heart of our very essence. And at the same time, although our forefathers actually used it to plant seeds, it's not just about planting seeds to cultivate crops, but also gives us that assurance that we can work as a community to care for each other and ensure that legacy of interconnectedness for generations to come. So I'll say that let's continue to reflect and look at framing farming also as a culture of care in our various local contexts due to the additional benefits of relational services, relational goods, and building that community of support so that we can have more thriving societies. So thank you very much. Medase. And if you have more questions, feel free to email me at desis.knust@gmail.com or all my other emails here as well. Thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you so much, Teresa. Questions? If you want to can or Nelson?
Yeah, maybe I can just comment because I really agree what you presented the farming, the community farming as a kind of the care. You know, I think they're kind of the so-called farming therapy, or maybe the natural therapy. The people use the doctor use the garden and the agriculture to treat the people with a psychological problem. But on the contrary, because I grew up in some village, so I realized that those older people in the mountain village to do the agriculture every day, even 80 or 90% age, but they are pretty healthy. Especially they do not have the problem of the dementia and so on and so forth. So I feel this is quite clear that it's very useful to do the farming, especially in the kind of traditional conditions. Maybe not efficient, but they would like to go every day. Even they don't eat not too much. The production is too much, but they would like to do every day. And it's really good, I think, just
Thank you for that.
Okay, Carla, do you want to say something? You come to answer now?
Yes. I can do one observation. I think that in some way the basic of care exists everywhere. It's very human. And that there are different cultures and the different cultures generate some communities, and the community generates some ideas of care. And these are, but there is also another difference. Is that in some places there are still living communities, and in some places the traditional communities do not exist. So in the case that Teresa presented, if I well understood, the community is very strong. So in some way, the only difficulties for the designer is to recognize that community exists, and afterward you do something to support the community that exists. In other situations, the community do not exist or are in very bad shape, and therefore, if you want to promote care, it's not only supporting somebody that's already giving care, but you have to create conditions that help also to rebuilding the kind of framework that generates care. So in this case, of course, we philosophical but in some way, once you recognize this very simple solution is the best thing that can be done. There is nothing else to be discussed as designers.
Okay, Carl, I will leave for the next one. I will pass now I will give the floor to Frank. Let me just share the screen so they can see you. We are going to put this here and here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Good afternoon. I'm Fang from the DESIS Tsinghua Lab. Since that Nelson quoted a lot of words from Confucius, I would like to add one that why I'm talking about care here, because in China we say that caring the elderly just like we do to our old parents. So it's come from a very simple story, because maybe 20 or 25 years ago, when my grandmother was about 70 years old, she fell down in the bathroom in such a winter. And after that, she lost her capability of moving for more than 4 years. So 14 years. So it's so we start this story. Why we are talking about carrying the complexity? Because in China, the complexity is universal, right? Here is a map of the GDP per capita in China. We can see that in Beijing is about 5 times of the Gansu province, the poorest part in China. So when we are talking about carrying the elderly in Beijing or even in Haidian, is a totally different with the story in the rural area or in some place we've never been to. So here in Beijing, that I think since 2 or 3 years ago, that there is a regulation that all of the old residential building is subsidized to construct their elevator to help the elderly to move down. However, we will see that the larger part of China is like this, the rural area. There is no subsidy and no modern architecture, no elevator at all. And I can show you 3 days later. And the ordinary elder people here in Beijing or in some rural area, and if you are Chinese, you can recognize this is not the very best or the very worst. They are the normal people. However, they are different, right? And so we started a project since 2019 to do the age appropriation renovation design. And we follow a procedure since the study, since the research, and since the concept design, and the solution prototype, and the promotion of the prototype. So we did a lot of research, and this is the process. And this is our first prototype bathroom for the elderly people. And it's in a community center in Chengdu. Chengdu city is not Beijing here. And you can see that we try to add everything that elderly people need in the bathroom. And here, this is the first part of my story. And because we found it's totally different one when we move into a totally different context. Because since 2021, one of my PhD students, she joined in a project in the rural area of Guangdong province, one of the most richest part, but they are the poorest part in the richest province. And sorry. And here, even though I have a memory of the rural area, when I was a kid, I had my grandparents in the village. However, I still cannot have a real impression about how is the situation in the villages now. And here there are the pictures. For example, in South China, we generally have 2 floors or 3 floors or even higher. And there is nothing to prevent their safety. And the younger people, the children or grandchildren, they move out because there is no livelihood in the villages. So basically, they are alone, sometimes with the very young kids. And here is a very normal bathroom in a house. And we can see that fortunately now they have the pipelines, so they have the water, but they have no drainage. So, and here we still see that they are using the very traditional kitchen. That means there is no gas, no electricity stoves. They still use the woods to cook. However, we found that when we brought an idea of the age appropriate renovation into this village, the first question is, why? What is that? Why we need something similar with the hospitals? So this is the first question, and we don't know how to answer that. And when we try to interact with the local elders and their families, there will come out a lot of doubts. For example, in this poor village, that a lot of people, they don't have their pension. That means the elderly people especially, they totally rely on their children to support their life. So when we bring such a strange idea into the families, would you please change that into money? And we need the money much more than something special and professional, and I cannot see there is any advantage for myself. And the other issue is that how? Because you see, that how this can be rebuilt, renovated, because that means you have to renovate the whole bathroom or the whole house. So we did a lot of research and especially a lot of interaction with local peoples. And we found that is much more complicated than something age appropriation. They brought out a lot of ideas about the livelihood or the loneliness of the elderly people. Sometimes they told us that they would like to talk to the young students, the young researchers, because they had a lot of time alone without talking to anybody else. So when this happened, what can we do? So after the first stage research, field research, that we found that it's better when we take a systemic perspective. For example, we maybe you need a lot of local support, such as social worker. However, there is no social worker there, right? So you have to train somebody to be a social worker. And we try to pick up some young people from the villages. Maybe they are not in the village right now, but we try to attract them back to their home. And probably a social worker will be their real career in the future. And we found that the people out of town, because a lot of people, they live or they study, they work in the big cities. Maybe they have a lot of more knowledge about what is the age appropriation renovation, and that they can have a connection with their families, so that we organize a WeChat group, and so that the elderly people in the home can be supported by the family out of the village. And the volunteer designers, all of the designers, the researchers, they are recruited by a foundation, okay? Yeah. So that we found that it's not something space design or survey design, it's far more like a systemic design. And however, I'd like to propose some questions instead of answers. For example, when we are talking about caring, sometimes it's easy. We offer something, but maybe the people be offered, they don't need time of care you would like to give. They would like something else, for example, their company, and even some money, their income, the connection with their children. And the age appropriation, when we are talking about the human needs, that base one, the second level, or there's something social issue, or something related to their self-esteem. I'm not sure how we define the age appropriation renovation. So my question is, who cares whom? Mm-hmm. When we are the young people from the urban area, most developed area, when we enter into some least developed area, we are the different people, right? And what do you offer is what they need. And in which way you care? The money, the connection, the knowledge, or something else. So I think that the only thing I learned is that we have to learn to care before caring. So this is my story. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Questions? Monica. Yeah.
Maybe just a comment. And I think I really valued how you ended your presentation, because it speaks to how we do research more ethically when we go into communities from the outside.
It's not easy.
Just adding to that, I think one of the most important attitudes that the design is very unique. I also work with the country and it's kind of to learn, not to do.
I want to enhance something you said about working with people. I mean, any kind of assignment on his own is very difficult to do everything. I mean, you need a facilitator or something, as you say, work. Chicago used to say, what to do is what
We organize ourselves with volunteers. The volunteers for the lunch.
You can't. No, you have to, it's at the end, you can't reply. These are the rules. I was not paying attention. So now we have Monica Di Ruvo from South Africa. So I will give the floor to you. Let me just first of all share the presentation so the people online are able to see your presentation.
I've got a timer because I'm going to just fly through this.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. And it's really lovely to be here and to speak to the DESIS network. I'm presenting a little bit of an African perspective. And I want to start with an introduction. And I think there's been some similar examples from other cultures and countries today, or continents. And in Africa and southern sub-Saharan Africa, there is an African philosophy that speaks to this notion of Ubuntu. And what it means is not so straightforward to translate, but what it means is that I am because we are. And since we are, therefore I am. And that really speaks to a relational existence. In other words, we can only exist as part of a group, as part of a society. Now, there's an image there of the late Desmond Tutu, and he also tried to explain it. And if you want to have a look, the African philosopher that is quoted there is, I think it's John Mbiti. And Desmond Tutu said, it speaks to our interconnectedness. What you do affects the whole world. When you do well, it spreads out. It is for the whole of humanity. And obviously, the opposite is also true. When you do badly, you affect the whole of humanity. Now, what's important about Ubuntu is it's not just limited to other people. It is also includes ancestors that have passed, and it also includes all living organisms on the planet. And I think that's a very important distinction, because I think it's very easy to care for people because that is our first contact. We always think of ourselves first, but this concept is a lot broader. And in that sense, there are some small touch points with post-human theory, but that's for another day. Now, the next slide. Thanks. I thought I'd include this just for some context to show the true size of Africa. And so here you can see the United States, Europe, India, Japan, and China make up the area of Africa. Quick, a little Cumulus little pitch. I have been able to map 116 design schools in Africa so far. It is an ongoing project, of which 6 belong to Cumulus, and we've already heard from Ralisa, my friend in Ghana. So I'm going to show some little examples of design with care from the other members. So this is from University of Johannesburg. This was a campaign they did together with orphanages, Girls and Boys Town. They look after vulnerable children and help to rehabilitate them and get them part of society. This campaign took place over a year with all the holidays, the time you would normally spend with your family. And it touched on people's emotions, and it spoke to all these days that we celebrate and what is the cost of a hug. And so it was a campaign to get you to think about those people that weren't celebrating with their families and to donate the cost of a hug. What is your hug worth? I'm going to fly through this, obviously supporting merchandise. This one is from the Greenside Design Center. Once a year, they dedicate 10% of the curriculum, so it's 3 weeks, to a vertical project, first year to fourth year, across all disciplines, graphic design, multimedia design, interior design. They worked in projects, and this project tried to reimagine. Now, I'm sure you've all known about the big movement towards decolonializing design education in South Africa, but across Africa. So this was a typography exercise, and it really spoke to reimagining what an alphabet could look like if we were to look at it closer. So these are the traditional languages. They worked in groups, and this is one of the outcomes. And the different groups came out with our journey is collectively shaped by meaning. And that's what each of these sentences represents, the sentence in red at the top. Here is an example from the Tshwane University of Technology. He's an alumnus. And I brought this title, Kokwana, as an example of one of the creatives that is now operating in a very cross-disciplinary space and forging his own way as a visual artist. He also blows glass and he customizes shoes for Nike. So he did some work at the World Expo where he was customizing shoes. So here's some of his work, not only in the glass studio, looking at contemporary African interpretation of a very ancient glass making. This is also the only school left in South Africa where you can learn to do glass blowing. This is from Ghana, so I'm not going to go into it. And I just want to say thank you to the people that collaborated with me. And this is an example of a traditional Zulu from South Africa love letter. And they used to be made to be worn where you could see them. And the different colors and shapes would give a message about your availability. If you were looking for a husband, or if you were married, if you were interested, not interested. And there was a series of colors and shapes which communicated that. And I've got, if you want to make contact with any of the people behind these projects, there are the emails. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Questions for Monica? No?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, because you have because well, I know it because it went to Brazil, where I'm from, in a different way, and it emerged with the Indian way of thinking and nurturing or taking care of nature. So you said that you wanted to speak about it, but maybe just a little bit afterwards. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, then you will reply. Now we need to take care. Nelson, do you want to just do some context about this next invited? Do you want to?
Yeah, okay, yeah. the last presentation done with Yes, with Yang Siqiu. She's a CEO of a social enterprise called 创意无限，是吧？
对，
创意无限。
创意无限。
And very emerging social enterprise to utilize the art therapy, art healing approach, especially the kind of
hand making process.
Yeah, hand making process to deal with the people that with any kind of the problems, and to try to involve the community building. And also the change the mental issues and also the well-being. Anyway, it could be a very long story, but let's leave the stage to Miss.
Yes, please.
So let me just put everything working also with the Zoom.
Yeah.
So people can see us.
But I'm very glad to be speaking here, and thanks for the invitation.
So I'm going to share. And now I'm going to put here. So everybody can see you. Okay. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So hello everyone, good afternoon, and I'm Siqiu Yang Siqiu. Here's my name. I'm here to present our soul art brand. In Chinese we call it 创意无限. English we call it soul art. Crafting for kindness is my topic. So who are we? It is truly a long story, but here are 3 keywords for you to give us a sketch. Social enterprise, art therapy, and integrated business model. So long story short, we are going to start from 24 years ago, since 1999, when my mom, Miss Zhao Chunxiang, she happens to be here today with us here. Yeah. Yeah, 24 years ago, I will be obviously too little, like 9 years old. And my mom is the founder. So she started with this mission or statement: crafting for kindness, well, being kind while crafting. And she tries to combine business, education, art, and spirituality all together. And imagine in 1999, 24 years ago, it was like nobody in the society knows what she's talking about, what she's doing. So she started to do everything on her own. And see what we have accomplished during the last 24 years. So we have shops and galleries across, in Beijing and Hong Kong, that means differently. And we sell and exhibit our original handmade artworks with polymer clay. So here are our works. This is one of our significant one. Rabbit is very cute and it's totally handmade with heartfelt design inside. So we believe that handmaking craft and design by our heart can convey the human spirit inside and heal people. And this is another series. We have so many different kinds of products that we make. And also we operate and manage the shops on our own. So these are some photos of our shops in Beijing and Hong Kong. And we also train our staff how to give a warm and heartfelt service to our customers, which human, how to behave and how to talk, how to give service is very crucial in the process to convey our spirit and values here. Photos. And the next one. So as a result, we have very good reputation. So people take our shops and galleries not as shop or business commercial place, but as a shelter. When they don't feel good, when they feel stressful in their life, they like to come to us and have like chilling out at our place or talk to us to have some inspirational ideas that can help them go back to their life and know what to do to solve the problem. So in the end, we have a very long-term relationship with our customers, more like friends, more than just business relations. So aesthetic is the engine. That's what I want to point out here. It's like we try to add it as the tool, as the media to give people power. And another thing is about art therapy beyond business. I think my mom is really amazing. Not only exploring in the business field, she also creates an art therapy system on her own. And she didn't receive any professional psychological training or courses, but out of her personal experience. So we have customers or audience from students from school and adults from the corporates and the elderlies and even people facing mental challenges from institutions. So here are two examples. On the left corner was a project where we collaborate with the Beijing Dongcheng District Disabled Persons Federation. So during the 3-year lasting continuous course once per week, these people having severe mental disorders became to be able to communicate and socialize with people. And what's more delightful is that some of them can even use what they learn from school, from our course, to make a living, becoming a craftsman. So like what earlier we have been talking about here, that we want to give people the ability to work or live independently as a respectful human being. So the other one is that we have this teacher training for the therapist in Kunshan Mental Health Center. So what kind of art therapy we're doing here, I want to elaborate a little bit, explaining our methodology, is we are part of the nature, like what is said. And so like 天人合一, 知行合一, 心物合一, to translate into English will be the unity of nature and humanity, and the unity of practice and theory, the unity of entities and the mentality. So crafting the polymer clay, I happen to bring here, like this might not be so familiar with people from European, because it's also called Fimo or Gopi in the US. So it's a very high density material, and it can give you very, very subtle and intricate response to your micro movements on your fingertips. So we use this response as a mirror to reflect how we feel and how we think, consciously or unconsciously. So here is a circulation between object, hand, and mind. What you're thinking can show in your hand, and what your hands move can shape the object. So through this circulation, and people can get deep into your consciousness and unconsciousness. And by training gradually, you can have a better management of your status of mind. So that's how we help the people with disorders to recover. It's the same logic. And we believe that the power of this is from nature, from our human, from our DNA, not something we need to get from the outside world, but to get from the inner side. So, okay. So in our gallery, we try to use very natural feelings and artistic logic to bring people this kind of feeling. So this is a practical example that we showcase in Tianqiao. This is our address. And we use this kind of aesthetic to decorate our artworks and our trees and the wooden texture and flowers and our kitties. And this is the calligraphy written from my mom's statement. And these are our original design artwork. Sorry, I have to speed up. Not healing at all. And this is our activities in our gallery. We give people exhibition and symbol concerts and workshops, talks. And this is our polymer clay art therapy workshop courses training for professionals. And what we do here is through all these activities, we offer people with emotional values, spiritual values, which are inspirational ideas that can change how we see things, and also eventually the unity of personal values and social values. So here I want to highlight that values, creating connections. These are our team, and they were our customers before. Most of our teams are consist of our customer before because they have been buying our product and service for a long time, and now they want to be a deliverer in our team to give people the same kind of sense of feeling that receiver here. And what we have been very persistent in our values. Sorry, I'm gonna end this. And so values is very important for social enterprise and for our life, and it can pay back because people can feel it through your service and product. And then the last thing I want to emphasize here is art for people, because we run our gallery in the Hutong, which is a traditional area which is going through urban regeneration. And this picture is my neighbor, Uncle Wang. And he likes to cook for us, and he gives us the first grape and the first cucumber he grew this summer and to us. But the first day I came to this Hutong, because we were moved to here like last October, another uncle remind me friendly, kindly saying that you should be careful because people here may find you trouble. And I was like, I'm not buying that because I know what art can do to people. So after this 1 year merging into this neighborhood, we had a very good relationship with our neighbors. They bring their kids and bring their visitors here to show how the Hutong, the old neighborhood, got renovated. And also we have projects for high school students to come here to find the nature and the balance between work and the society. And also the...
Wait.
Okay.
Okay, you can go now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And workshops, charitable workshops, inviting the retired people and some kiddos come to our workshop to have this peaceful and mindful experience, and collaborating with the government, the local neighborhood committees. So we believe art brings care to people, and we are trying to make the most of our aesthetic methods. So in the future, I hope that this kind of gallery could be like a gym, that we have places to exercise our physical bodies. We should also have places to exercise our mind. So we offer our scenario, our artistic scenarios also for the kindergarten, restaurant, and the bookstore. And I hope they can be emerge into more places. Okay, done. Here's our address. If you'd like to pay us a visit, here's our address, our WeChat, phone number, and the next one is my content if you're interested. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. So we will open here the discussion. Can you stop sharing the screen? Just questions?
This kind of mind inner universe culture, spiritual culture is very important, and they used to have it East culture, but it's going lost until. And are you doing this kind of workshop? Do you feel a lot of people in China they are into it? If they're interested. Yes, or it's still not main culture, but it's going more and more. Okay, I need to mark it down and answer it.
Yeah, so now I don't know if anyone would like to ask a question.
Yeah, I have one question. Okay. I forgot if you mentioned you have the education background on art or design?
Myself? Film production.
And your mother?
My mom?
Yeah. So more or less you know the creative education, the design or art education, more or less.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. But your mother, Mrs. Stark, she hasn't had any art or design education, right?
They had education background.
Yeah, I know, but not doing about design and art. Yeah. So I want to ask, in your family, the background of the especially in February.
Yeah.
How do you think is that the principle and the practice that is very effective, created by the staff? How in the story compared to the what we are talking about in food design, we need about the aspect about preparation and the art therapy is also so. What's the major differences that in your one that created by mother, you have nothing in teaching everyone matter. So that's my question. That's my question.
So I think that we can open our collective discussion. Completely went out of time. We can try our best to have clear discussion. So I don't know if you want to answer Carlos with a lot of questions, but I don't know. We can start maybe.
Or you can ask the speaker to pick up one question for each one and try to answer. And if
So, June and Khalitsa, I think you have heard what Ezio was suggesting, that each of the speakers can pick one of the questions that was question to you instead of So if you want to think, I don't know if you have taken notes of the questions. You had a lot of questions because we were
Yes, select one. Yes, select one to try to know about the I forgot to talking about it again. Okay. Yes. So it's an important concept. It's an important concept in the Chinese traditional culture, especially in the Confucianism. And the core, as I said, the core idea of the Cumulus is based on the Zen. And it says Zen means love. Zen means love, and particularly love men. So, how can I say that if you are a man but not able to love in Chinese culture point of view, you are not human being. You are like any other living
creature.
Yeah, creature. So this is the Chinese culture. Chinese culture set a kind of a very high standard, high criteria of the ethic point of view for our civilization. Yeah. So that's why how can I say, when we say that the today that start to when our scholars start to understand our history better and better, we realize that in history our society is very beautiful, very good. The history in China, if you are talking about well-being and aspect point of view, our situation is decline, continuous decline. So we are more or less, it's unfortunately we are not in the best period in point of view loving society. We are in the society where compared to history, we are very careless society. On the contrary, 5,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago, our ancient people have much better social condition and social environment than us because they are full of Zen. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whatever. When.
I'm trying to control before and how we can participate also. June, do you want to pick one of the questions?
Yeah, so I want to respond to the question from Ezio, which I understood as what is the cultural context of this solution? Is it the question that you asked?
Ezio. He wants to clear the question that you asked to him. Can you repeat?
To you, my question was very simple, was if you see some Korean component in the project that you presented. Very simple, not very complicated, but the question is simple.
Well, surely yes. But if I had understood this idea of caring and culture better, then I wouldn't have chosen this project. But nevertheless, I still believe that there are many Korean components that has shaped this idea. So first of all, there is a very weak sense of community among homeless TB patients, among homeless people, because many of them are antisocial to some extent. So for us, it was important to approach this concept of mutual support or social support, because the sense of community and social network among these people, and also with other organizations that can help them, was crucial to their rehabilitation after they get discharged from hospital. In Korea, at least, care for homeless TB patients is institutionalized and offered by the government. So our solution has to be offered by the public sector. And then there is a negative societal perception about homeless people, which results in stigmatization and isolation of these people, which I think has somehow led us to believe that these people, they have a strong demand for social support, and if the social support cannot be provided by other people, then we can use a machine, which is a chatbot. And of course, regarding our solution, this technological solution, Korea is a very technology dominant society, and also we have a shortage of healthcare professionals. So we decided to use a virtual agent, to fill this gap that exists in this specific cohort that we are addressing. So these are, I think, some of the Korean components that I think exist in our project.
Thank you, June. I have bad news. You see those guys out there? They are waiting for us to get out because they have an activity here now. So I think in maybe 5 minutes we need just to conclude, because they are all waiting out there. So any other speaker that wants to pick very quickly, and then like 1 minute each, maybe just to.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify, didn't speak later, but I wanted to clarify one thing. Maybe it's problematizing, so we should speak. But after the presentation, I want to clarify, of course, I'm a feminist. As Silvana Voce, as Virginia Woolf, as Simone de Beauvoir, and so on. But I think the feminism is forgetting the role of the men. So they are letting in the West, and they are letting them outside of the conversation, absolutely. And this is very risky, and I'm seeing it in a country, because in a country with the tradition of the alpha male, the things are not clear. So the problem is that the only thing that they have to be clear is what they were in the past. So this role should urgently be defined, because we are going to extreme right-wing positioning, because we are not defining this kind of things, which are very. So we are the feminist scheme. I'm not letting the conversation at all for men. So this is not the way. I'm absolutely convinced about it. Yeah.
And do you want to work with because we really, no, I cannot wrap up. I only want to thank everybody. Of course, it's an issue that's open. I think that it's obvious that the notion of care is universal at the basis. And it's also obvious that immediately this difference between care as work and care as relationship appear. In this, the role of woman is fundamental. So everything that go back to the past, to some nostalgia of the past, very often do not consider the role of the woman in that situation. So what we have to solve in the different culture is how to go back to what care, given that our society, the modern society tended to lose the relationship of care. So how to rebuild relationship of care, not based on the work of the woman, or based on the work of the woman and the man in a different way today. And here, of course, is different if you have the Ubuntu still alive, as in the case of Ralitza. So there is something that's still living and it has to probably be updated, or you are in a place where the traditional links are lost and everything has to be built from zero. I thanks everybody. We have really
Yeah, and we have food for thought, so we can continue this. Yeah.